Hi, y'all. Welcome to Hustle Humbly. It's Alissa and Katy, and we are two top producing realtors in the Baton Rouge market.
We work for two different companies where we should be competitors, but we have chosen community over competition.
The goal of our podcast is to encourage you to find your own way in business.
So stop comparing yourself and start embracing your strengths. Hi, friends. It's Katy. Katy
and
here.
Alissa. Alissa here.
And we're on episode 44. This is about advertising.
I would just like our YouTube people to know that I staged my closet for you
for our
since we're
Zoom
still
call.
in quarantine. And Katy had put this on my bookshelf.
I love it. I like that you brought your plant in there too.
Book and my ceramic. I'm going to show YouTube Soldier.
Oh, please.
Okay, so my dog is also in my closet with me. He's sleeping.
He's so sweet.
He's been there for the whole time, and I've been in my closet for like 2 hours.
He's really committed to listening to Hustle Humbly live.
Yes. So all you listeners out there, if you want to see those things, go check out my closet. Oh my gosh, I just got a Dave Ramsey lead.
Oh my God, you have to call them right now.
I do.
Okay, pause.
I have to be first.
Okay, go. Okay, advertising. Hi, Alissa.
So what do you think about it, Katy? What do you think about advertising yourself? Okay. We're not really talking about listings, are we? We're just talking about...
No, it's for you as the realtor, your self-promotion, right? Okay, so I have my thoughts on this, and truth be told, I'm not a big advertiser of my face. I am not, my face is not featured on my for sale sign. I have never purchased a park bench or billboard. I maybe in the early few years had placed an ad, in the newspaper for an open house or something of that nature, but never to advertise me.
Sure.
I love some social media, and I love, anything online, but and I did pay at some point for leads, but that's not really advertising as like brand recognition type of advertising. It's more like with an end in mind, right? I'm paying for a certain number of leads or a certain outcome. I'm not super comfortable with self-promotion, I would say, and I don't think most people are.
Sure.
We did get a request for this episode, and I thought, I don't know what I have to offer in this department.
Well, we thought it was, I think it's funny because when we got this request for, talking about self-advertising and advertising yourself as a realtor, we were like, should we bring on a guest? Because neither one of us really do this. It's not really our business model. And then we were like, then why would we bring on a guest if it's our podcast?
Right. So we had this aha moment where we're like, this doesn't even make sense. Like I thought, we'll bring on a guest who does amazing self-promotion and has all the things. And then we were both like, but why?
Why would we do that? Yeah, it's not
who we are.
Right. So we're just here to talk about what we do, what we don't do, why we don't do it. We don't want to give you a bunch of fluff and things that we're not going to do. And we're not saying it's bad to do. It's just not in our how we do.
It was not how we do. That's true. I think maybe advertising, a lot like so many other things we've talked about, when you're spending money in your business, one of the most important things is that you're tracking how does that money return? If it's something that's difficult to track, like a park bench or a billboard or, then how are you deciding that money is being spent well? Like what are your parameters for do you have to have 10 people a year say, I saw your billboard? Does the billboard company give you some sort of, because I'm sure they have data and statistics, right? I don't know how trustworthy that is, but do you look into how you've chosen to spend your advertising dollars and actually find out if they're working? I mean, I think that's the biggest part of advertising, is not to waste your money and to keep doing what's working and to move away from what's not working.
Yeah. And I think like when I was a new agent, I just thought I was supposed to have pins with my name on it. And I thought I was supposed to do all these things. And I did waste some money in the beginning for sure. Yeah. And, I just don't think that is the way people choose their realtor.
I don't either. And I think what happens with new agents, especially, is they come into it and they see what's being done and they feel obligated, like you did when you bought your pen, to replicate, okay, well, this is what the top producers are doing, or this is what everyone else is doing, or everybody's got their face on their sign. I personally don't want my face on my sign. I don't want to see
and it's funny because like I have my face on my sign.
That's okay.
I know,
saying
but
it's wrong to have your face on your sign. I just have zero desire.
I like that you don't and I do.
Right.
And I don't really know why I do.
Well, I don't know. It was an option, right?
It was an option, and I was like, sure, I'll put my headshot on my sign. And I do think, sometimes
you have a pretty headshot
get recognized. I don't know.
And they probably do. And here's the thing. I will say I am somewhat torn about that stance. I don't really want my face on the sign because I just am not comfortable seeing my face in someone's yard or, on a billboard or park bench. Like, that's just not who I am. But I do think if you consider your face to be the most important part of your brand as a realtor, then brand recognition cannot be bad. So if someone sees your face and recognizes you, that can't be bad. Now, I feel like I do a really good job of that on social media, which is where I'm comfortable. So and I'm not like hiding my face there. I just don't.
I usually hide my face there, but I'm trying to like sneak it in.
Right. But isn't that ironic? So your face is in the yard and I'm like, no, I can't do it. And I'm like all about, I'll post a picture of myself on social media and you're like,
I can't do it. Yeah.
I mean, it's just like really, I think advertising is you leaning into who you are and doing what makes you feel confident and happy and comfortable, like not doing things that make you super uncomfortable. I mean, as realtors, we also have to think about safety. I mean, there's just your phone number is out there in the world. Your picture is out there in the world. You can't hide it.
I don't know if this is right or wrong, but like I had a foreclosure and it was in a pretty rough area. And I just used my regular company provided sign with a name writer just because it's like, I didn't want to be lured to this vacant, abandoned house. Call this number and I'll show up. Here's my face.
This young lady who's going to show up, right? I don't think that's wrong. But I think maybe it's just, again, a matter of what you're comfortable with and what your preference is. I don't think there's a right or a wrong way. I do think that the newspaper spend is interesting to me. I've always felt from very early on that I'd rather spend money online advertising than on print because print is a dying thing. But what I find to be interesting is like the real estate books and those magazines and the newspaper have all really worked hard to get their websites really good so that when you do place that type of advertising, it's getting seen online. So I think that is a positive thing there. I still don't really do that.
I keep getting recruited from like an agent magazine that's like, we want to promote you as the top agent. I'm like, I don't want to pay $3,000.
No, I don't want to pay.
And then what happens is when I see who they promote and they're like, oh my gosh, y'all, I was nominated as the best agent. I'm like, you paid $3,000.
Right.
I guess nobody else knows that.
Nobody knows it.
That's how I think,
It makes it feel super like contrived and forced, right?
Yes.
It's dishonest to the public,
Yeah, I feel that way sometimes, but
I know. Well, I think that that's good. Then you just follow your heart to what makes you feel genuine, right?
Yeah.
Like you just do what makes sense. I know that your broker is really good about the posts where they show production and they show like stats and your age and like, or maybe just your anniversary or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I think those are nice and good. I don't have anything like bad to say about that, but that would be
I like it because it's like somebody else is sharing it.
Right. That's good.
I don't want to share about myself, but it's nice when your broker and office are promoting. It's always better when someone else is promoting you. Like that article that Forbes wrote that says why you should take the self out of self-promotion.
Right. What's another good way to do that? When you're at the closing and your buyers are taking their picture that you're in, instead of you having to post the picture and tag them, tell them to post a picture and tag you. And now it's someone else who's saying, hey, here's Katie. She was my realtor. We love her. Whatever. It's just But I also think that being uncomfortable with self-promotion is natural and silly. Like you are your product. You need to be okay with saying, I'm good at this. I can help you. I have value. And if you do not feel like you have value, that you are good at this, go take a class, get better at it. Because if you can't confidently stand in front of a human or a park bench or a video and say, I'm good at this and I have value, then you just have some room to improve. Like I don't have any qualms telling someone why they should use me anymore.
Right.
I mean, like I don't. I know that I'm going to provide you value. I know that my knowledge is important. So I just think that nobody wants to be like, oh, hey, look at me, right? Or well, I guess some people do want to do that.
Oh, there are. We thought about interviewing some of them and we were like,
right.
No.
I'm like, no. But it's not me, but it's okay. And I think that everyone has to understand that you can't hide. Don't be a secret agent, right? Like I am super uncomfortable with the name tag wearing.
Oh yeah.
You know, like there's some agents that go no, and they'll tell you go everywhere with your name tag.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just like and maybe there's a part of me that's introverted. Maybe there's a part of me that I don't want a stranger necessarily to talk to me in the grocery line and say, oh, you work in real estate? Tell me about, I don't know. Like I just get freaked out a little.
Right. When I'm at the grocery store, I don't want to talk real estate.
No, I mean, like I cannot, I would be embarrassed to go to my kid's school wearing like a real estate name tag. Yeah. Because it feels like I'm being salesy. It feels like I'm approaching that as a salesperson. And I think that's why social media makes me so comfortable, because I became friends with them, and they are on my social media, and I'm not going to every single post be, look at me, salesy Katy. It's mostly going to be like, check out my dog, or look at the weather, or okay, every once in a while there's a house. But I mean, I don't know. I think that there's just, again, that's me. You do you.
Okay. I have to plug in my computer somehow. I'll be right back.
All right. Bye.
Hello, friends. We are so excited that so many of you are using the template course, and the reviews are just pouring in, letting us know that it has helped your business as much as it has helped our business.
Yes, listen to this review. Thank you so much for providing this wealth of information, knowledge in template form. So far, I've used a handful and received positive feedback like, this is so professional, or I really appreciate how organized you are. I mean, can you imagine?
Yeah,
your clients are actually going to say that.
Yes.
All right, here's another one. Thank you so much for this. I can't tell you how many times I've started this and how many notebooks of samples and notes I had. I have ADHD, and it is super hard to stay focused on getting it done. Having it all in one place is going to make it so nice.
That is what we're here for.
I know. Just look, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. Just use these.
Yeah, nice and simple, easy, ready to go, ready for you to put your own logo on, make it sound like you. So head over to hustlehumblypodcast.com/course and check it out.
That's right.
And you're going to enjoy them. You're going to love them.
It's going to
change your life.
Literally fired my assistant. They are the best.
Okay, enjoy the template.
Yes, enjoy.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, like you said, it's important not to be a secret agent. And I do think that it comes with confidence. And when I was reading that article about taking the self out of self-promotion, it's not about saying, I sell 50 houses a year. It's not about saying but it's about finding out what's important to them and saying, well, I can help you find a house in that amount of time, or I can give you guidance in getting your house ready. It's about, in real estate, they're saying it's more about letting them know that you can handle their goal.
Right. That makes sense.
More like, yes, it's good to have a resume, but you don't need to verbally give your resume.
No, that's a great point. I provide a resume, but I will never read it to them. Like, here it is. If you feel like you need it, go for it. I mean, it's just not necessary. I wrote a note about, some of the ways people advertise that we don't, but I thought we should point out. Door knocking, calling expireds and for sale by owners. This is all advertising, right? Just ways to get your leads. Farming and like postcards or mail outs, that type of stuff.
I was going to say, I feel like calling for sale by owners and stuff is more like lead generation.
Yeah, because you're not just talking about yourself.
Yeah, like when I think of advertising, like I know there's people who wrap their cars or have car magnets.
Oh, yeah, the car wrap.
Yeah, or Maybe they have the park bench or a billboard.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard radio commercials.
Oh, I have too. That's unusual.
That's kind of, yeah, I actually listened to the radio for the first time the other day because my phone died. And it was kind of like nostalgic.
Right? Like,
Like,
oh, listen to this.
oh, look, commercials. I forgot about these. And
right?
then it was, Realtors and stuff.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I do you know what your advertising budget is every year? I don't know
No,
mine. Okay.
I don't.
So great. I'm going to tell you some interesting stats from this Real Trends article I found.
Okay.
They interviewed 300 producing agents. Okay. 53% of them said they spent less than $5,000 on advertising. Then there
I'm probably
was
in that range.
right. So less than 5,000. Then it went up from there. 5,000 to 10,000 was 13%. This is in a year, and I think this was 2018. 12% said 10 to 20,000.
Whoa.
I know, wow. And then 5% was 20 to 40,000. There was 1% of the respondents spent $60,000 to $80,000 a year.
That's amazing.
And then 3% of these agents spent more than $80,000. That was the highest one.
I mean, I believe it. I see what some people do. It's a lot.
It can get expensive fast too. I mean, like you got to pay for that billboard every month, not just once.
Yeah. And I think it kind of goes back to like, what kind of clients do you want? Like maybe if you're new to an area and don't know anybody, a billboard wouldn't be the worst idea in the world. But yeah. I don't want to be everybody's realtor.
No.
So I don't want to market myself to the masses.
Well, right. Me neither. 11% of people weren't sure. They just didn't know how much money they spent.
That's where we are, I guess.
I guess we're in those. Yeah.
I'll tell you some of the things that I classify as my marketing, if you will.
Okay, let's hear it.
And maybe I shouldn't put this out there into the world. But if you're local and your kid needs a baseball sponsor, I will probably sponsor.
You will do it.
I have sponsored soccer teams, baseball teams. I have sponsored a 3-year-old's dance recital.
Love it.
Like I like more like when people ask me to give to like a charity or something like that, being available to do that.
Yep.
And then also, like I've mentioned, like my yard guy, I text him addresses all the time and I'm like, go cut these people's grass.
Right.
And,
I guess so. Your advertising really still falls into your database management, right? Like that's where you classify it if you're doing your taxes.
Yes, it is. And that's like it's funny because if you log into my Waiter app, there's like over 50 addresses.
Just like I send food everywhere.
Because I send food to like so many people or places. And
oh, that's so fun.
It's just like, that's what I want to spend my money on. And, if I want to, so I read that your marketing and advertising budget should be somewhere between 8 and 12% of your income.
Okay. I like it.
That's what they recommend. So like, say you make $100,000. If you want to spend $10,000 a year, do you know how many grasses you could cut and how much food you can give out and how many sports teams that you can, and it keeps it local and it helps you with your relationship building. Yeah. And so I look at it that way.
Yeah. I think that's a really good way to look at it. And I agree. It's just so funny, but a lot of people don't think of advertising to their database in that way as advertising. They just picture traditional advertising where they bought the billboard, the newspaper ad, that's advertising. But you're right. If you've got to look at it like all those Starbucks gift cards that you send in the mail, that's still part of your advertising budget. And
for sure, we
talked about how to spend $500 a month. I mean, $10,000 a year is even more than $500 a month. So I think that you could do a lot of good with that. In this study, they also talked about how the respondents utilize their advertising dollars, like where did it go? So we know now that they mostly have a budget of $5,000 or less, but where the heck were they spending the money? 70% of their budget went to website, 37% online advertising, social media, 26% advertising in local newspaper, 23% online advertising like search engine marketing, 18% door-to-door flyers, 16% online advertising display ads. Do you see a theme? There's a lot of online advertising. 11% advertising in a magazine, 10% sponsorship of local events or sports teams. There you go, Alyssa. It's not a secret. 8% bus, shelter, bench, billboard ads. So 8% of their ad spend was on that type of stuff. 6% referrals, word of mouth. So I guess that would be like your database type activities. 5% TV ads, 5% radio ads, 3% didn't advertise, 2% said newsletter, and 4% other. I can't even put my finger on what that would be. But that's pretty interesting. A lot of that is online driven.
Right.
I think that's good. And I think advertising is one of those things you also have to be really careful about, because realtors are forever being marketed to, right? So someone's going to call you and say, I looked at your website on Google. Would you like help with blah, blah, blah? I cut those people off pretty early on.
Me too.
Because I have a soft heart. So if I let them go too far, they will sell me something. And then I feel bad. And I'm like, no, I got to cut you off. Zillow will beat down your door. They'll all beat down your door. And it's tough. And I think that you feel like you're constantly pressing against the norm when you're not doing the norm. And so it's like a struggle, but I think it's
Have you done any traditional advertising? Like, what are things that you have done or do?
To advertise me as an agent?
Yes.
I mean, I did the farming postcards, like the four postcards to a list. And that's, I guess advertising me, even though I'm trying to get a lead. Well, they're all trying to get a lead, right? That was pretty traditional. And I would do the 4 postcard series, and it worked like a charm. So it is something you have to really commit to, though. You can't just do it on a little, you have to have a decent number of listings, and you got to do all 4 postcards because they would go to the 100 houses nearest to the listing.
Sure.
I liked that one. That was traditional.
I do the LSU football magnets.
Okay.
I do those every year.
Oh my God. I'm so glad that you said that. You are going to die. So another agent sent me a text message earlier today. It was a picture of a refrigerator. I'm guessing she was showing this house. Okay. On the refrigerator, there were 3 to 4 football magnets, to-do list, whatever magnets of an agent, basically
the
same agent on this refrigerator repeatedly. And I said, oh my word, please. Cause she said, who do you think had this house listed? So I zoomed in, and I'm like, I'm going to be an investigator. I'm like, okay, I can see what agent is on these magnets. And I'm like, oh my word, please tell me it was XYZ agent or I am going to die. And she's like, it was not XYZ agent.
Oh my, they were reaping the benefits.
So the refrigerator
didn't use them.
Yes. The refrigerator was covered in the agent magnets, and it was listed by another agent currently.
That's
with the
so
magnets on the
weird.
fridge currently. So I take that story and do what you will with it. But I just thought it was hilarious.
That's the perfect example. It doesn't work.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work. If that person who went to the refrigerator and is in quarantine a million times and still chose another realtor, they didn't forget who their realtor was. She was all over their fridge.
Mm-mm.
Is that not the funniest thing? I'm not trying to tell you not to send your magnet, because I do think it's a nice touch. I just think that it is not an automatic.
I have people, I didn't do them 2 years ago, and I had so many people
were
them.
Revolting because they wanted to know the football schedule.
They did. And so
that's fine.
It's there. I do my Christmas cards.
I do Christmas cards.
Because I send out 750 Christmas cards.
Yeah, and that's probably one of my biggest expenses on my advertising.
It's expensive.
Yeah, it can. Well, that's the thing. It can get expensive, but I'd rather send.
I also send it out to my realtor friends that are not in Baton Rouge.
That's genius. You get plenty of referrals.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
And they love getting it at their office. Yeah.
Is there anything else traditional you do? I don't. Have you ever wrapped? I would never wrap my car. It's the same thing as putting my face on the sign.
I barely have business cards.
I ran out of business cards and I haven't refilled them.
Yeah, maybe this is just not our episode.
I think it's a great episode, and we'll have to call it something transparent. We're not good advertisers.
Right.
Right. Don't come here for advertising advice. We will talk to you about why we're not worried.
I think it goes back to the fact that me and you are our own walking billboards.
Yes.
When you're at school, how you are operating with other
Yes.
people, how you speak to other people, are you involved in your community?
Right.
Are you, whatever it is,
Yeah.
you're always, it's always important to be kind. And that doesn't mean like shooting real estate from the rooftops, but at the same time, there is that balance of finding a way to incorporate it. So if
Yeah.
that's sponsoring something at your kid's school or at the dog park, or like getting involved in I do a lot of like local charity stuff.
Yeah.
And I do those things and like send food and cut grass because it genuinely makes my heart like so happy.
Well,
But
right.
you can't deny though that it also reaps benefits in your business.
Yeah. But I think that the important part of what you just said is it's a genuine act. So
Yeah.
if you're doing something that makes your skin crawl, like wearing a name tag, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. If you like it, wear it. But if I don't like it, it makes me uncomfortable. I don't like the way that makes me feel, so I don't do it. And I never
Right.
felt, I've had other agents say, oh, well, where's your name tag? Or I'm like, I don't care. You're not going to make me wear it. I don't like it. It doesn't make me feel good, and I don't feel comfortable.
Sure.
And that's okay. And it doesn't mean that we can't grow and learn and change the things that we're good at or comfortable with. Like if you're uncomfortable in social media, I'm probably going to tell you to try. You know what I mean? Like, just try to take more pictures of yourself. Try to post some personal stuff. Try. I'm not, but I think it's okay to just do what feels genuine to you. But don't be afraid to say you're an agent. Don't be afraid to tell people what you do once you're building. Like, you're so good at having a natural flowing conversation. And just remember, that's okay to advertise yourself in that way.
Now, when I go to lunches and like networking groups, they ask you to wear a name tag.
Do you have one?
Somewhere. We've been in quarantine
So do you wear,
so long. I'd have to
oh, it's hidden somewhere. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have one.
But I think I just had one. I need to get a new one. Like I wonder if there's like a modern name tag.
I don't know.
Probably not.
But
I think if you're joining groups or like you're new somewhere, it's not a bad idea to have one, because that's kind of what those groups are for. Now, wearing it to the grocery store and the mall, and that's kind of weird to me.
I'm not wearing it to the mall or school. Well, we may never go to the mall again, quite honestly.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I don't even know when the next time I'll go to school is.
Yeah.
Either way, I do what this is something that Chelsea Peterson, our friend who is all about the social media, always says. When you're talking about yourself on social media, show them the agent behind the for sale sign. So really think about that. Like, how do you show who you are? Show your personality. I mean, a billboard can't really show who you are. I mean, maybe a little. A park bench is not going to show people who you are. A newspaper ad is probably not going to show people who you are, because it is just a snapshot. It is one still photo. And maybe that's my problem. I don't love a still photo of myself. I want to have some options. I don't want to be looking at the same billboard for 6 months. I mean, that's not going to work. But I think there's something fun and exciting and positive and like genuine about going onto your Instagram stories. Like, you do it all the time and just be like, here's what I'm seeing on my run. Here's my dog. Here's my kid jumping on a trampoline. Like, this is who I am. And that helps people to know, like, and trust you. And that is how you get clients, not by a billboard, not by a park bench, not by a mass mailer. No one's going to know you. No one's going to say, oh, I mean, from a singular photo, think about it. On Zillow, if you're paying for leads, they have 3 or 4 agents' pictures down in the corner with like their number of reviews and their number of transactions. And you're looking at a listing and you can pick one of those people based on a photo.
Right.
You know nothing about me. You don't.
Yeah.
You might not like me and I might not like you. I'd rather work with a person who likes dogs. You don't want to work with people who hate dogs. You're all about dogs.
Right. That's true.
I just
I did when I was newer, I used to do like the just listed, just sold postcards, and I got a lead from it. And this guy was so crazy.
Yes.
And he gave me the runaround and wasted a lot of my time. And I never listed his house, and I'm not really sure why, because I was new and I like stayed and followed up and did as much as I could.
Right.
But it just like invited someone that was just not a good fit for me.
Yes.
Just because it went to everybody.
That's exactly what happened with me.
The wrong person.
I got the wrong person off a postcard, except I wish that he had never listed. he listed and was super mean. And I should have known the red flag from the very beginning when we were in the listing appointment and he was haggling me about the commission in kind of a not so nice way. And I was having to like defend myself and negotiate. And I'm like, this guy off the postcard, well, he was so mean and so difficult and so very unpleasant to work with. He did not make it onto my database.
Mm-hmm. I think too, like if you want to do some advertising like that and you have a budget for it, I do think it would be fine. Like if your church has a bulletin or if your kid's yearbook sells ads, spend the money where your community is.
For sure. Especially if that money is going into your community. So if you're paying for the baseball sponsorship, I mean, it is like, it's charity, right? Like you're helping something that you want to succeed, that you feel connected to. I think that's really probably the key here, to advertise in a way that feels like you're doing what you want to do and helping people you want to help. I think that's great.
Yeah.
We're not helping anyone who actually wanted advertising tips.
Maybe we are. We'll have to see what our listeners think about this episode.
I can't wait to hear the feedback. I'm feeling a little nervous. Like they're going to get to the end of this and be like, what in the world?
So what do I do?
So
what you do is you go love your people.
That's
and
right.
You send them food and you cut their grass and you check on them and you send money to their kids' baseball, and that is your marketing.
Check.
And you handwrite letters. Done. You do handwritten letters with little coffee gift cards in them, and you just sprinkle happiness everywhere you go. And then all of a sudden they want to use you when they need to buy or sell a house.
I like it. This is just an extension of Love Your People episode.
It really is. But that's, I guess, how we advertise, and that is how we put ourselves out there, and that's how we keep our face in the public, is just by, being present in the community, on your social media, and then you just get the business that you want because your vibe attracts your tribe.
Yes, I agree 100%. And I think that I want to, as a disclaimer, if people are getting to the end of this and are like, oh, this didn't help me. We are doing like a listing series right now, right? So we did the listing descriptions part and we talked about how to work out your, MLS listing with the photos. I think when we start to talk about listings in more depth, we may talk about how you market those, because that's a totally different ballgame, right?
Yeah, this is more like self-advertising.
Yeah, we are gonna talk about listings, so nobody fret. Just not today. We have time constraints.
Yes, not today.
Okay, I don't really think that I have anything else. How about you?
I don't either. No.
Okay.
Well, short and sweet. Simple.
Good. It's not that short. Well, I guess it is pretty short. Okay, it is simple. Keep it simple, people. This is the toast. We had someone request this episode. So we want to toast to Shannon Gladden. She is awesome. She purchased our email template course, and she has made really lovely comments about it.
Great.
She was already using her templates and they were working great, and she had good seller feedback. And then she made this lovely request. So we want to toast her because she's awesome and she's always participating.
She's just very participating. Thanks for participating in the podcast.
We so appreciate you, Shannon, and we want to toast to you.
That's awesome.
Okay. Cheers, Shannon.
Cheers, Shannon.
Okay. Goodbye.
See you next week.
Okay, bye.
Thank you so much for tuning in to the Hustle Humbly podcast. Let us know who we should toast to for the next episode.
Be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Hustle Humbly Podcast. If you have an episode, topic, or question, please email us at hustlehumblypodcast@gmail.com.
Be sure to subscribe to the podcast and leave a review. See you next week. Bye.
This is the good life.